Welcome back, everybody, to the Little Less Fear podcast. Today, I would like to introduce Martin Theis. He's a spiritual teacher who focuses on the art of shamanic journeys and the application of the medicine wheel, a holistic approach to finding well being, balance, and inner peace in life. The coaching practice Light Trails Company's mission is to assist others on their journey from suffering to joy. Martin is in the process of building a decentralized network of nonprofit organizations that aim at building low entrance barrier refuges for people to find healing and regeneration all around the world. Welcome to the A Little Less Fear podcast, Martin.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure. Hey, Martin, so tell us about your journey. Before we talk about your journey, what, for people that are listening and tuning in for the first time, who is a shaman? What is a shaman? And what is your role in life as a shaman?
So, I think if you ask 10 different people, you probably hear 10 different answers about that. And for me, so I'll just give you my perception on what I see a shaman is doing. And that is basically to help people orient themselves in other realities that are not limited to this physical reality, right? So
Mhm.
it is in being able to go to these places, being comfortable to going to other kinds of realities like the dream state or that shamanic journey place where we go to that is similar to the dream state, even though we are more conscious. And to be really able to navigate and guide others through these places. That would be one part of it. And the other part is that um, connection to nature, to the planet Earth as a being, and to really be guardians of that planet Earth, and also to just be able to read the physical reality in a sense, and to just because when we're on a vision quest, which is a rite of passage in that shamanic or native indigenous culture, then we look at what is nature telling us, right? And so we are able to read and decode pretty much the answers that nature gives us, either nature when we're here in this reality, or the dreams, the images, whatever perceptions we have when we're on a shamanic journey. So I would say that is my occupation, or more of my the skill set that I need in order to help others.
What's considered a dream state? Do you have to literally be in sleeping mode, be sleeping with your eyes closed, or can you be in a meditative position, or could you even just be daydreaming?
I think probably all of it, right?
Okay.
So it is. I think we often try to put things into classes, or to put them to, kind of like to place definite labels on things. So the graduality, or this movement from here to there is all these different places in between that are all part of that. And so what I meant was, when we're dreaming, that is what I meant when I said dream state, right? So when we're sleeping, we're unaware, unconscious, we're just experiencing the dream, and then we wake up and we reflect oftentimes, wow, what did that mean? There was my
Yes.
grandfather talking to me. So that dream state that I meant was that more of an unconscious
I see.
remembering afterwards, right? And so
Mhm.
the shamanic journey takes place in a similar way, only that we are still aware of our body. We're still being able to think and to really have that conscious aspect of this journey or this dream, but to really be more in charge, if you want, or kind of like a little bit more conscious. And so I think all in those places in between, it's all possible. And the daydream is the probably most aware, or not aware, but when we're daydreaming, we're most identified with the physical reality we're in, and we're just slightly dipping our toes into that place, right? So I think
Right.
I think it's a it's a I don't know how to say that. Maybe kind of like a beam or something where we walk over and there's all these different levels or different gradual things in between.
And so, shaman helps others navigate their dream state and connect with that inner part of themselves that's not fully physically aware of what they are experiencing in that dream state.
Yeah, kind of like a translator. And if I look at the journey that my clients or students are on, in the beginning, I'm more of a translator, helping them to make sense of the imageries and the sensations that they bring back. And the more they learn, the more they build kind of like a vocabulary, or they understand their own imagery better. Then it's just becoming more of a mirror in which they can see themselves better, asking maybe a question to clarify or something. So it is in the beginning more of an explanation, and later it's more of a just recognition and being present so that they can understand their journeys with the help of someone who just gives them back their images or ask questions.
Martin, I can imagine that before you are where you currently are, able to help others navigate their dream states and connect with nature and planet Earth and the beings and being guardians, having a vision quest and all that, that you also had to go through a journey like this yourself to figure these things out before becoming a shaman, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what brought you on this journey? How did you get onto this journey? What got you curious on down this shamanic journey?
So I think what brought me to the shamanic journey was immense suffering, depression, feeling struggling mentally. So I was fortunate in a way that I was had been a professional athlete or a semi-professional athlete, so I was really um, physically well, and was going to school at the time and then later on to the university. So I was also in a place where I should be fine, right? So I there shouldn't be anything to complain about from a external perspective, but I was really suffering mentally and emotionally. So that drove me when I found the shamanic journey workshop, because a friend of mine had done it before and he just said, well, you should try it out. It's really cool. And so I did it, but I didn't really expect anything, and the feeling that I had and the understanding I gained and that connection that I had for the first time, that was something that completely blew my mind, in a sense that it's actually possible to find some sort of peace, even though it was for a short time maybe, but it was definitely a change to how I felt all the time before. And so that was what made me come back and over and over and over. And what I wanted to just really learn and understand more, because I felt it was one of the few things that actually helped me, so that was my motivation to keep on going on that path.
What about it brought you peace?
I think it is that I've tried out a couple of different spiritual directions, and I think the shamanic journeys and that way of teaching and learning is very grounded.
Hmm.
It's first and foremost, I think it's probably because I got to work with my own images. I got to meet my own spirit animal or totem animal, which is something that felt like finding a missing puzzle piece. And so it is probably too much to go into detail, because each journey kind of brings those puzzle pieces
Okay.
back, and so over time it just is reassembling. I think I wrote a blog article some years back, reassembling the soul, to just really take all these pieces that we lost in our lives in certain traumatic situations, or maybe in a relationship that didn't go well or something, and to really bring back all these bits and pieces and to reassemble ourselves, you know. And so that was really what I was doing, and what encouraged me to keep on going.
And so you felt this reassembling of your soul as you were going down this shamanic journey.
Yeah,
And that in turn brought you some peace.
absolutely, yes.
You know, I had a similar experience actually, as far as spirit animals go. And this is just a couple weeks ago where I was meditating, and I was meditating with some crystals. And there's a specific crystal called labradorite. And it's hard for me to say that word, labradorite. And so upon learning about this crystal, it says you can ask it who you are. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see who I am and where I come from. And then I started having these visions and these dream-like images of dolphins, and it started telling me that I come from a dolphin family, past lives, and that there's a dolphin spirit animal in my life. And I was like, what? And so I quickly, after all that, I Googled the spirit animal of a dolphin, and the personality type was almost, I mean, accurate to who I am. And I was like,
Yeah,
this is wow, this is amazing. And I've always loved dolphins. I want to swim with dolphins. I think they're beautiful. I mean, they're geniuses. And I feel a connection with them. And so it was really interesting to get that information. I mean, I felt ecstatic, I felt happy, I felt joy and peace. I had that peaceful feeling knowing that I can connect with dolphins on that level. And now I want to connect with them
yeah.
physically.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when I first found out about my spirit animal, which is a leopard, you know, I really wanted to go to Africa and to really work in one of these uh, stations where they have young leopards that are caught because their parents got shot, and so they are de-wilded or something. That's where I wanted to go. So I
Yeah.
totally resonate with what you're saying. It is that pull towards that animal that is part of us or you or me. Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. Have you had that opportunity yet to go?
No, I did.
Oh, okay.
I still feel like, man, someday I'm
Yeah. Oh, I'm
going.
sure you will.
Yeah.
I'm sure you totally will. And so we're talking about here the coaching practice. See, you're talking about the medicine wheel. What is a medicine wheel?
So the medicine wheel, that is the question that I mentioned in the beginning before we started, that is really sometimes elusive for me to bring it to the audience in a way where it completely makes sense. And what I can say is it's really a very simple way, because it's a circle, and we have these, let's say, four direction. If we keep it really easy, we have the east, the west, the south, and the north, right?
Right.
And so what the medicine wheel, if we use it as a tool, not as a stone circle in the physical reality, but if we
Mhm.
use it as a tool, it helps us to gain perspective, to balance ourselves, and to really help us in a holistic way. It is a holistic tool that we can use in order to find that peace. Because I would argue that um, those four directions also have mind, spirit, emotion, and the body or physical as parts of it. And when we're able to balance these parts out, we are in a state of peace, because we're kind of like, we find that state of having all our needs met: physical needs, emotional needs, spiritual needs, and sorry spiritual needs.
Yeah.
So when we use these, and we can really do in combination with the shamanic journeys, we can, with the help of the medicine wheel, we can gain so much understanding that there is it is almost like um groundless or an infinite, you know. We can always dive deeper into this, just like a rabbit hole, and there's no end. I'm learning for 12 years now, and I still feel like I've just scratched the surface of this wisdom that is incorporated in this, right? So that is what I mean when it's really simple, but it is highly complex, in that I haven't really gotten the feeling that I know everything about it. Far from it, right? So I know And I maybe you can do me the favor and ask a question, or if you feel like there's something the audience might not understand from what I'm saying, I'd love to do
Yeah, the
that.
medicine wheel, I'm trying to understand it here. Is it like okay, I understand what I'm understanding, it's like a holistic approach, finding a balance. But are there like values to follow? Are there images to follow? Is it like the story of life, kind of to give you a better understanding? What
Hmm.
is it in encompass in? Like what does it actually teach people?
It depends, and that is the fascinating part. I find it curious that you ask that. It depends on your intention. So it is like a basic framework. If I say, like I mentioned before, we have all these attributes that we find in these different directions, and when I have an intention, let's say, um, what would my intention be? I want to be in a healthy relationship with my partner, right? That
Right.
is oftentimes something that people really are looking forward to. And then I can, with that intention, I can journey into this medicine wheel and maybe pick one direction and look into what is the physical part of the medicine wheel telling me where is an unhealthy relationship with my partner. Is there a need not met from my side? Maybe there's something where there is some health issues that I haven't really thought about, or physical, maybe they need some more attention physically, whatever that is. I get images from that, and so it depends on the attention that I have. And then with that, and with the understanding of the medicine wheel, that is what my clients usually benefit from, that I can just guide their journey and say, that's where we're going today because that is your intention, if that makes any sense. So all the knowledge that is necessary that I acquired over the last decade is helping me to help others to find their way in this system, even though it's quite easy, but because it is so deep, it just feels like I see big question marks still in your eyes. I'm so sorry, but it is amazing. That is all I can say. It's an amazing holistic tool. My teacher would probably cringe if she heard me speaking like that, because she's, oh my God, you should know better.
Well, no, I guess the confused look is I'm trying to imagine this because I haven't looked it up. I purposely come into my interviews blindly to ask questions as if somebody's listening for the first time
Yeah,
so that I can ask the
yeah.
right questions, and I will Google all this when we're done and research it myself. So I'm trying to figure like what I'm trying to envision is I guess I kind of see, someone has like the food pyramid and it kind of like tells you things to do and things to eat and stuff like that. But in this case, it's a wheel. And in the wheel, you're combining attributes such as mind, body, spirit, and then the whole physical realm and seeing where a specific topic that you're interested in, either healing or some kind of inner conflict, where it's going to match up according to what you're feeling and what your solution is or what's the most peaceful solution at that moment to guide you towards balance.
Absolutely. And I think the aspect that I had missed, which I just worked with today, is that it is a circular or spiral motion, right? So it's never stagnant. We're never in the same place at the same time. So we evolve as human beings, and by just going round and round, just like the sun goes round, everything is pretty much in an elliptical or a circular movement in our world, right?
Right.
So by going through these spirals, we're spiraling up and becoming more peaceful on the way, becoming whole in terms of health or healed, right? So
Right.
I think it is. We usually begin in the east. That's where the sun is rising, and in the invocations when we speak a prayer, and it depends on what kind of person you talk to, because other nations, other tribes have different medicine wheels, so they might start somewhere else. But in my teaching, where I was taught, we start in the east, and then the north is where it kind of where the medicine wheel comes to an end in terms of the lifespan, right? That's where winter is. And then we cross over into the east again, where it all starts over again. So it is that circular spirally motion and that dynamic that helps us to really evolve as human beings and to find peace along the way. So
I love that comparison because in this case, it's being compared to what you mentioned to earlier, which was nature. And we are, I mean, in turn, we are one with nature. And so this kind of gives us that balance that nature has, and it allows us to participate in life in the way that other living things are participating naturally in life to find that holistic balance.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So thank you for bearing with me.
Yes. You're listening to A Little Less for Your Podcast, episode 181 with spiritual coach Martin Theis. If you are enjoying this episode's topic, we can listen now and engage with me. You can actually connect with me on the Uchi app, UCHI. And for further discussion of this topic, more information on this at the end of this episode. So, what is your vision and why do you intend, Martin, to create a sanctuary in Hawaii?
So the vision, no surprise there, came from a shamanic journey. So it was an image. It was really a short image of a place where people would go to and find healing and be um, just kind of be. There wasn't really a mission. I didn't see them doing anything or having to do it. It wasn't like a retreat center where you have a schedule or something. It was more just like a safe haven where people can come and find whatever they need in order to heal the wounds and to transform, move forward. And that was pretty much the initial vision that I had. And then I started feeding it with energy, and I had an idea when I started out that maybe Hawaii or maybe Jamaica would be places like that, but it really quickly turned out that it was Hawaii that I had the image from. And so I started traveling to Hawaii and reaffirming or affirming that this is really the place to be. And the reason for that is it is just a very, very sacred space to me, a very high energy place in so many different aspects. The ocean alone is just phenomenal. It's so healing, such a
Oh,
such a
sure is.
beautiful, such a beautiful. I mean, I'm talking to someone who loves dolphins, so so it is. The energy is what guided me because I went to the Canary Islands here, closer to Europe, because I said, well, maybe it doesn't have to be an island that is from German, from the point of view of Germany on the other side of the globe. And it is really that place that is so magical, so transformative. And I see also that there is so much going on in Hawaii in terms of people struggling and food insecurities, all these issues that Hawaii has, kind of like social, ecological, on all these planes, that a sanctuary like that would be supporting the communities and would kind of like give back rather than to extract, what often happens in Hawaii, is something that is really dear to me because it's just my personal home in a way. It's, even though I was born somewhere else, I stepped out of the plane oftentimes and I felt I'm home. And
Mhm.
so that is the reason for why in Hawaii and what is the idea behind it.
And this is all in relation to creating the decentralized network nonprofit organization. Is that along the same lines?
Absolutely, because I feel like we are in a process where in the world we need more places like that. And I don't claim I want to have the monopoly on something like that. It is more like learning how it's done and sharing the knowledge, how everyone can build. If you have kind of a property somewhere and you feel like this is something that you want to do, then to share that knowledge and to give access to as many people as possible to such places, because I see oftentimes that those healing and transformative places that are already in the world are often expensive, and
Yeah.
it's only accessible to a few people. So if there is a DIY kit to create these places where people can just go there on a budget, they don't have to really pay high expenses in order to be there, and then they can go back into their communities and bring that healing in back into the community where they came from, and to kind of like bring that movement forward. That is how I saw it. That is why it's decentralized. It's organizing itself. It's just sharing the knowledge. It's sharing its resources. It's giving back to the communities, and connecting people who have similar ideas, right?
And so this sanctuary, because I'm trying to look at the big picture, and it kind of reminds me of I was a practicing Buddhist for a long time, where I go to different Buddhist temples, and they're all volunteer based, and it's really the love and the information that's given from Buddha or other spiritual leaders around the world, spiritual Buddhist practitioners. They're able to hold teachings and motivate the world on peace and love, and in turn, that also turns suffering into joy. And so, how would this nonprofit? I mean, it would be ideally run by shamans, correct?
I don't think so. No, it's just the right people will probably show up. That's how I see it.
Okay,
That
that makes
it's
sense.
not intended to be any kind of specific belief or belief system, or it's really just like the way of financing it is might be through donations, or maybe through a small for-profit entity within that ecosystem, so that money can be funneled to that, right?
Right.
Either through I always thought it's coffee growing, because Hawaiian coffee is quite profitable. If you look at coffee in the world, then Hawaiian coffee is among the most profitable coffees. So I thought maybe we can just grow coffee and sell that, and the profits go to the non-profit organization or something. But just the open space for people to create and build. I come from the nonprofit music festival scene here in Germany, where it's really an underground scene of people making festivals accessible to as many people as possible as can fit in, and having low entrance barriers and all these things. So I think it is important to decrease the number of limitations and expectations and rules. There needs to be a framework, but I think it needs to be able to breathe. It needs to be able to become what it wants to become,
Hmm.
and to not restrict it with concepts and ideas too much.
So, in allowing the sanctuary to become and bloom its own way, through connection and through like-minded individuals, what is your vision of the sanctuary? How do you see it looking,
I see it like that's a good
or how do you
question.
feel it looking?
Yeah, no, I've walked around in this place so much. I can definitely I can definitely tell how it looks like.
Sure, tell us.
So I see I see it on the big island of Hawaii, or Hawaii Island. I don't know why, but it has often been the feeling that Hawaii Island is unique in that it's the volcanic active island of the Hawaiian island chain, right? So
Uh-huh.
there is some
Oh wow,
special
there's a lot of energy going on there.
yeah.
A
So
lot.
that is probably one reason. And so I always saw it with ocean access, so people can just go down to the ocean without having to leave the premises. And there's also an old Hawaiian concept that is dates back to the taboo system, where if you reached the city of refuge, or the place of refuge, when you did some if you crossed some convention and you were hunted by someone because you had done a taboo, then you were able to be killed, let's say that, right? And if
Uh,
you reach this refuge, you were kind of like forgiven, right? And so you returned to society, and nobody was harming you because you went to that city of refuge. So I had always had that idea of being in this place where people don't have to leave the property and can go to the ocean and be healed. And that is one aspect. The other aspect is a music festival, actually, where there is maybe once a year, kind of like Burning Man, but that not really. So Burning Man is the closest American equivalent that I know, even
Mhm.
though there are smaller festivals. I haven't been there, and I haven't got any names. I know on the West Coast and near in Oregon was a festival where I wanted to go, but I don't remember the name. So it's really where people come together, build stuff, build connections, where the whole neighborhood is
I
invited,
like
the whole
that.
island is invited, right? And we
Right.
just celebrate together, dance, music, make music, build stuff, and enjoy the community, right? So that is another part. And then, other than that, really holding a sacred space for the people and the island. That is how I see it.
That sounds beautiful. I would love to go to something like that. Wow. That's incredible. I've been to Hawaii once, and it's very memorable. I mean, enough for me to know that it's like heaven on earth. It's just so beautiful and green and luscious, and the weather's incredible. My skin feels amazing afterwards. So yeah, it's definitely sounds like a safe haven right there for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So I think whenever I doubt what I'm doing, that is bringing me back on track. You know, that if even if this might never come to pass, it is worth giving all I have in order to make it make it possible, right? So because it just feels like very far away, but maybe it's not. And so I just say, well, this is the vision I received, so I love it. You know, it's not nothing that got pushed onto me or into me, and I didn't really want it. It's really something where I say, well, this is worth investing my life and my energy into.
If it's worth investing your life and your energy into, it feels to me that this is almost, or it can be, a life purpose of yours. Is this
Yeah,
what in alignment with you?
absolutely. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Can Do you think that people would have this ability to find their life purpose if they're having a struggle with that in a sanctuary such as the one that you're envisioning?
I think the opportunity is there, but on the other hand, it is something it's almost like grace, right? We cannot influence that. We can build, or we can create an environment where people have good conditions for that, but if you really find it, is something that is depending on so many factors. So I feel like
Right.
what we can do our best so that people can be free and feel safe and feel and be able with vulnerability in order to inquire and find out. But
Hmm.
if you find that purpose in such a place, maybe you find it in the harshest conditions, not in the optimal conditions or in the
That's true,
best
actually.
places. So I don't know how purpose introduces itself into people's lives.
I love how you said that. You're not sure how purpose introduces itself into people's lives. I feel that from my personal experience, I have many life purposes, and I found that actually when I was in the midst of suffering. But I also find now that I'm in a wellness journey, and I'm not going to say a healing journey because if you say healing journey, you're always going to be healing, and you're never going to be well. So I'm on this wellness journey, and now that I'm on this incredible wellness journey and vibrating on love most of the time, I feel that I'm getting different visions that I would have gotten before when I was suffering. And it's really all to uplift myself and humanity. And that's the most beautiful thing about really not knowing in which angle your life purpose, images, or visions are going to come. But I do feel that this incredible sanctuary that you have in mind is going to definitely bring people together. And that's a purpose in itself, bringing people together. And people are going to find purpose in coming together and connecting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I totally agree with what you just said from that point of view, like on so many levels. Yeah.
Thank you, Martin. Hey, so Martin, where can our viewers or watchers and our listeners find you if they need to get a hold of you of any of your incredible information that you just gave us today?
So, lighttrails.co is my website, and that is where usually you find all the information. I started a webinar series, and I think I'll continue that. It's 4 weeks old, and it's a free webinar where we just do a shamanic journey together. And I
Wow.
think even though when this is broadcast later, I think it's probably going to continue. It's Thursday evenings in Europe and Thursday morning or afternoon in the US. Um, so that is definitely something where everybody's invited. And I think, really, like I said, I'll just continue that. It's a free experience where if somebody who's really interested in that, it is, we can lose so many words in what is a shamanic journey, but you have to experience it. So that is why I started these webinar series. And so other than that, I'm really pretty much not around on social media. So I would say my website is the best place to find me.
That's incredible to offer free webinars. What are in the webinars?
So at the moment, it's a medicine tree series. So we're, as I mentioned, the medicine wheel, and the medicine trees are in those four different directions of the medicine wheel. And one is the tree of abundance, the tree of healing, the tree of transfiguration, and the tree of wisdom. Those are the four trees that we're visiting in the next 4 weeks. And then after that, I will probably go into the elements, which are found in the same directions, but the elements have something to say also about what we want to learn, right? So we meet fire, water, earth, and air.
Wow, that's beautiful. Well, I can't wait to take a look myself. This will definitely help me with my journey. Thank you so much and help the whole world. This is incredible. Martin Theis, everybody, this has been incredible spiritual awakening through shamanic journeys. He's a spiritual coach. This has been an incredible interview. Thank you so much for sharing your love, light, your compassion, your incredible heart of gold. I wish you and your incredible shamanic journey and your awesome visions to become into a physical reality. I have no doubt that it will. Martin,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much for being
Thank
on a
you.
Little Less Fear podcast.